Hello, 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 and welcome to the Conversation with Stevie. Stevie Aisha Mills from the great state of North Carolina. I am Dr. Marilyn E. Porter, affectionately known as the Soul Shifter, and I am sitting in for Miss Stevie on today. Y'all know Stevie has a lot going on. She's doing her studio gig, She's about to take over this media thing, so every now and then she's going to need somebody to tag in and help her out a little bit, and it is always my pleasure. So I am, as always, super excited to be in the studio today. I love talking to the phenomenal powerhouse guest that Stevie brings to this show, and if you are listening on the regular, y'all already know. Y'all already know how this goes. Y'all already know that no scrubs. Everybody who shows up on the conversation is powerful and has a mission and a vision to change the world. When I say the world, I don't mean all 9 billion people. I mean the world that is theirs, the part of this earth, of this terracotta that is assigned to them. And so I'm always excited to come and have the conversation with progressive, powerful, anointed women. And so I have with me in the studio today a young woman that I had a brief opportunity to work with actually in Stevie's last book project. I had an opportunity to get to know her through the words of her story. And so this is a pleasure for me. So I'm going to go ahead and read her bio, and then I will bring her on live. Tikeya Lawrence is the brains behind Love M.E.E, that's M.E.E. LLC. I love it. The brand's mission is not only to motivate and empower, but also to educate women on self-love. So did y'all get that? M, motivate, E, educate, empower, E, educate. Hold on to that. Her brand pillars are self-awareness, inner peace, happiness, and good health. Tikeya's mantra is, I am good to me first. Ooh, that's good. I am good to me first, so I can be the best version of myself, thus allowing me to be full and in abundance. I can now share, give, and pour goodness and love into others. Tikeya resides in Maryland with her husband. And so I'm going to stop right there because bios are really cool, and y'all have heard me say this before. Bios are really cool, and they package us really nice and neat. But sometimes you want to hear a sister unpack herself. And so I am bringing to the conversation with me on today Miss Tikeya Lawrence. Can you hear me, Tikeya?
Yes, thank you. So glad to be here.
Welcome to the conversation. And so just take a moment, and I want you to really, really unpack who you are, what you do, and why you do it for our studio audience.
So I am Tikeya Lawrence, as you've read, and I am the founder of Love M.E.E, LLC, and it's motivation, education, and empowerment for women on loving themselves abundantly. So God has created us wonderful women, and we always take care of everybody else, and oftentimes we end up neglecting ourselves. And that's not really what we should be doing. As a matter of fact, we should be taking optimal care of ourselves so that we can be best for others. So I decided to start this business to help us bring that back to the forefront of our minds, because oftentimes we say it, but we don't do it. I am a nationally registered paramedic, and I worked in one of the busiest cities in the country in Washington, D.C. for almost 18 years. And so I am no stranger to people not taking care of themselves and people having health issues. And I've seen oftentimes how people were not doing that, as well as situations where people were trying to take care of others and neglecting themselves. So it was important for me to stay connected to that mission of helping people once I left that career. And so that was what I decided to focus my efforts on.
Okay, and so when did you start? When did you start your current business? When did you start? I don't want to say the name wrong. Love Me, LLC. When did that become the mission? When did that become the mission for you, where you decided, you know what, I'm going to take what I desire to do and I'm going to package it? Because when you start a business, that's essentially what you do. You take your passions and you package them.
Right. So I'm coming up on a year, but I had already been planning to resign from my job. And so I started to think about things. And, again, I wanted to definitely stay connected to helping people and being impactful in others' lives. So I just thought about different things and different ways in which I could do that. And, again, from my past, I was like, people are oftentimes not taking care of themselves. And I know, again, as a woman, we often do that. And while we say we need to take care of ourselves, we often go out and take care of everybody else but ourselves, or we're on the back burner, or we've poured all of ourselves out for everybody else, and then we've been neglected. So I was like, well, let me help bring that back to the forefront of our minds. And that way, again, we could be our best selves for others and for everybody else. So not just for yourself, but just best for everybody. So I'm coming up a year. Yeah, coming up a year now.
Okay. And over the course of this last year, have you found that women, as you stated, women in general, we tend to not do what we're supposed to do by ourselves, meaning for ourselves, but we'll do it for other people. And I am always taken back to the airline stewardess saying, put the mask on yourself first. You know, should there be an emergency, put the mask on yourself first, and then that way you have the strength and the agility to help someone else. But are you finding that that now, even more so than maybe 10, maybe 15 years ago, that because we live and everything is such a hustle and bustle, do you find that now the fact that women are not really catering to themselves or loving on themselves as much as they should, are you finding that now it's more connected to more so we have all this drive now, you know, we bosses and we got to get stuff done and we hustling and we grinding. So do you think that now it's more of the hustle and the grind, or because years ago it was more, I'm taking care of my family, I'm taking care, my mom is sick or my dad is sick and I have these children and I got to take care of my husband and I got PTA and, I'm cooking, you know what I mean? And so do you think it's a different kind of, I'm not taking care of myself as opposed to back then it really was, I'm taking care of my family. Now it's like I'm hustling and I'm grinding.
I would say even if it's just an additional distraction or an additional thing that's been put on the plate, I would definitely think that that's some of it, because like you said, everybody's a boss and everybody's superwoman and everybody's taking on this, that, and the third. And honestly, they're not even taking care of themselves, like resting and eating well. And I even know for myself, I have to make sure I stay on it, because we get so wrapped up. And when you're first starting out, a lot of times you're doing everything. And so you are taking on a lot. And so, I have to even remind myself sometimes, like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, so I think that is an addition or a thing that's been added into the fact of us, like, I got to take care of this, I got to do this, I got to do that. and now you got to be the boss too. So it's an additional thing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So I know that you are an author. I know that you are an author. I stated that kind of in the opening credits that I had the opportunity to read your story in the pieces of my platform. But you actually have, you're not new to this author thing. So tell us a little bit about some of the other projects that you've been involved in.
Okay, so I first was introduced to being a co-author in Renegotiating Greatness with the compiler Sade Y. Adu.
Oh, awesome.
And that piece, we're basically all 21 of us, and we're all telling our stories how we decided to just renegotiate our greatness and just who we are, based on where we were in life. And my story in there is basically giving an account to me leaving my job and saying, I can still do great things and help people's lives without being in this paramedic position. I can still do that and be out in the world serving people.
Because it is all about service, right? It really is all about serving others. At the end of the day, it really is all about serving others. So since we're on the conversation with Stevie, tell our listeners a little bit about the actual story that you wrote in the book, The Pieces of My Platform, because I read it, and so for those of you who have not, you might want to grab the book. But tell us a little bit about the story that you actually write in the book.
So in The Pieces of My Platform, I basically talk about how I had to build my faith up to take that step of faith out to, leave my job and become an entrepreneur again, because it was a big step. It was like, and part of me struggling was like, how am I still going to serve people and show up in this world helping people out? And I struggled with that for a while. So it took some time to really build up my faith, to trust God and say, you know what, I'm going to be okay, and there's other things and ways that I can serve, and I'm going to be okay. So it took me building up and putting them pieces of faith together over time, over years, because I had been in that position almost 18 years. But I knew, I think maybe in my second year, I knew that I wasn't going to be there like forever. It wasn't somewhere where I was going to do 30, 40 years. I wasn't doing that. So I already had in my mind started planting those seeds. So those pieces came together over time of me building up different things in my faith and saying, you know what, this is time. It's time now.
Okay. So, Tikeya, tell me now you talk about self-love, and you talk about being kind to oneself. So tell me some of the things that you do to love on you.
So I'm an advocate of enjoying yourself and loving life. So for me, that looks like making sure I'm in tune with who I am and how I feel about things. So being really self-aware, one, and responding to that and showing up that way. My integrity means a lot to me. So I want to make sure that, I'm self-aware of who I am, what I'm doing, how I feel, and being true to that, and making sure that I present myself to others in that same way. I also am, of course, I am still a nationally registered paramedic, so health has always been important to me. So I try to be on top of my health. I do better sometimes than others, but I do try to be on top of my health, making sure I get the checkups I'm supposed to, watching what I eat, getting the exercise when I can, and mentally keeping myself sound and grounded, because that is a big thing, especially in these recent years. Mental health is really, really important. And with the job and the career that I come from, you repeatedly experience traumatic situations and not necessarily deal with them appropriately. So staying on top of my mental health, staying grounded and connected to God and my spirituality is very important to me. So I make sure I do that. I enjoy travel. I love traveling. I like going to other places, experiencing other cultures, just smelling the air in other places. I like doing that. So, and that was actually one way that I would decompress from my job. I would travel a lot. So that's something that I make sure I do when I get to spend time with family and friends and have a good time, because they know that's exactly what I like to do, and I want to make sure everybody's having a good time. So I just make sure I take advantage of those opportunities to add to my life. I'll go and have a meal by myself. I'll go to the movies by myself. I'll travel by myself. So if it's something that I know that I'm going to enjoy, which likely I am because that's my intentions, those are the things that I do and surround myself with.
I love it. I love that you say you will go and chill with you. It don't have to be another person there for you to enjoy yourself. That is, I think that is so awesome, because I hear people a lot. I hear people say, oh, I wanted to go out and, I wanted to go out and grab a steak last night, but, I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And I'm often thinking, well, you don't need the other person to chew your food, do you?
Exactly.
You don't need the other person. Now, you may want the conversation of another person, but I'm just gonna keep it real. Listen, if I'm in the mood for something, if I want, a steak, or if there's a bakery up the street and they got a little cupcake look, chances are, even if you are with me, I'm going to be eating my food. I'm not going to be too much trying to have no conversation with you anyway.
Right. I mean, and in the movie theater, you're not supposed to be talking.
You're not supposed
to be by yourself.
Right. So I love that. So this is just the M.E. Porter question right here, because I love to travel as well. So where are some places that you've been that have where's the most beautiful place that you've ever been, a place where you can just go there in your mind and it makes the world okay?
So the beach, I love the beach. I love warm weather, and I love the beach. So I just like to sit there and look out in the ocean, and that's the other thing about spending time alone. That's that time where you can connect with yourself, connect with God, check on yourself and have those times. So definitely alone time is good. But I like sitting on the beach and just looking out in the ocean and looking at the sky and just, having that time to be with myself. But I did get the opportunity this year to go to Iceland and Dubai, and they were both amazing. They were both really, really, really amazing places.
Wow. Okay, so I haven't had the opportunity to visit either of those places. Dubai is on my list of things to do, so I'll let you know when I make my way to Dubai so that we can have that conversation, because right now I don't really have no input, but I plan on going and getting you some input for that conversation. And but I love it. I've been to Europe a few times and a few different places, and so I just know, like when you said, just to smell the air in other places, the air really is different when you go to other places. The air literally is different. So I want to encourage anybody who's listening. If anybody who's listening, please know that if you have not left your little corner of the world, you need to get somewhere, girl, because when we tell you that the atmosphere, the air itself is really different. But I hear you trying to say something, so I want you to go ahead and share with the listeners what your spiel on just even the air in another place is even different.
So I said that to somebody recently, and they was like, wow, I've never heard anybody say that. I said, no, seriously. The air is different when you go to different places. Like, I mean, it's a different climate possibly, and, I mean, the air is different. So, and we have a lot of, I'm in Maryland, we have a lot of pollution in this area. So, I don't know, maybe it's fresher or cleaner when I go to other places. And maybe that's why I like it so much. I don't know, but the air is truly different. Like you said, you even can attest to that. So, it's something that I like that. I like that. And like I said, different cultures and different sites, and I like going to experience that.
Now, let me tell you what I have been thinking for 20-some years now about that whole air thing. I've been thinking, and it sounds really funny now that I'm getting ready to say it out loud, but I've been thinking that it has something to do with the fact that different people eat different food. So I've been thinking that, because I'm always tuned into the culture, and the most cultural thing of any place is the food. That's
right.
Like the most cultural thing. So I'm always making note of, like, what's that smell? You know, what does that smell like? Is that cinnamon, or is that vinegar, or like what? But the air really is different. And so I've always thought that it had something to do with just the food cultures of different places, of that those are the smells that get into the air. You know, that's just my little summation of why the air is different. You know, and I could get spiritual. On this thing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have that today.
Right. It could be a couple of different things and reasons why, but I'm a firm believer in that it is definitely different in different places.
It is, and I'm just gonna high five you and say I agree with you as well. So before we wrap this up, please, you've already given us Tikeya's self-care regimen. Be self-aware, your health, keep that spirituality intact, and along with self-awareness, you had integrity, and then you said you like to travel, you like culture. So that's your self-care regimen. But when you're speaking to others in general, you know, your health, your regimen is very specific. Like, everybody might not like to go sit on the beach and watch the ocean. Like, for somebody, that really actually might stress them out, because you have these certain personality types that if they sit there and look at the ocean long enough, they're like, oh my God, where does it end? And what, you know, see, I'm an ocean girl too. I grew up in New Jersey, so I'm used to the shore. So I'm an ocean girl myself, but I know people that like the ocean, it actually stresses them out because the vastness of it starts to stress them out. So just in general, not coming from, because, well, self-awareness, health, and spirituality, I think that those are like everybody should be tapping into that. But if you could just give one or two more components to go with a self-awareness, with taking physical care of yourself, physical and mental care of yourself, and kind of keeping that spirituality, keeping that intact. Just in general, what are some other actionable ways that people can self-care, things that they can take action steps into, like as soon as this interview is over, they can begin to implement those steps?
So protecting your peace of mind is very, very important. Protecting your peace of mind and having peace is very important. And like you said, if there is something that stresses you out, you have the right and should take advantage of it, of protecting yourself from that. So peace of mind and just having peace is very important, and you should protect yours, period. And then authenticity is big, because that kind of lines right with self-awareness. So, like, what do you really like? What do you really feel? And just be authentic about that, and be accepting that and walk in it. Like, and it's okay. And just keeping that in your mind and knowing that helps, I believe, with you having the happiest life and being happy. So whatever those things are, just stick to them, implement them, have them surrounded, surround yourself with those things and implement those things and make sure that the empowerment piece is that you don't have to explain, why something really stresses you out and that you're protecting your peace. You don't have to, be ashamed of certain things if that's authentically you. I mean, it is. That's what it is. So living by those things is. I mean, why would you not be happy if that's you and you've accepted it and you're again self-aware, you're protecting your peace and taking care of yourself and doing what you need. Like, go with those things. Those things. That's what's going to have you happy and living your life abundantly.
Yeah, and so that is phenomenal advice. And so let me say that the key word to everything that you just said, the key word to it all was acceptance. Accept that that's what it is, and you don't owe anybody an explanation. Accept that this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I want, this is what brings me peace, this is what makes me happy, and I don't have to explain that.
Right.
I love it. So, Tikeya, let our listeners know, how can they keep in touch with you? Where can they find you out here in these internet streets, so that if they are in a situation where they realize that they are not doing self-care and they want to tap into somebody who can help them be consistent with that self-care piece, you are the go-to girl. So how can they keep up with you?
I am on all social media platforms under Tikeya Empowers, and that's Tikeya Empowers. And my website is Love Me, and that's MEE LLC.com. So I can be reached, or you can stay connected with me by reaching out or following me through either of those methods.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your life, this life that you're enjoying so much. Thank you so much for, thank you, because I feel it. I feel your energy. So thank you so much for just taking out a little bit of time to chat with me. So on behalf of Stevie and myself, the conversation in general, and I was going to say the conversation conglomerate, right? So I think I just spoke that into existence, right? Because I was getting ready to say, like, as if they're like all these other platforms, and so this is the one right now. But I think I just spoke that into existence. So just on behalf of the show, just thank you, and you are appreciated. And so to the listeners, please, if you are in that space where you are overwhelmed and you are underappreciating yourself, you want to reach out to this young lady right here. I know you can hear the energy. I know that you can feel that she genuinely is loving this life that she got going on. And if you are not, you want to reach out to someone who can give you guidance and actionable steps to move you into your next best self. So, again, thanks for listening. This is Dr. M.E. Porter, affectionately known as the Soul Shifter. I want you to remember this one thing. Everything that you need to survive in this life is already inside of you.